Hi everyone, I'm Paulo from Mavericats. We thought we'd rise to the challenge of helping Glasgow City Council reduce the amount of energy it consumes. Glasgow City Council is tied up to national and it has its own carbon reduction target, and it has a sweet energy bill for buildings of around 18 million pounds. It operates out of about 1,000 buildings and it has about 20,000 staff. So our proposal is Energy Reporter, which is an energy saving mentoring system. It uses half-hour meter readings. It complements existing energy efficiency initiatives. It provides real-time energy analytics, and it triggers no-cost energy-saving interventions, and through that it develops energy literacy. Basically, it makes complex information available in a simple format to a wider audience. And that wider audience in this case are building users. So this are general people that work in buildings. They're concerned about climate change, but they feel there's not much they can do in their day-to-day life. It's building caretakers, so these are people with an operational responsibility for buildings. People who want to do the right thing, understand climate change, but perhaps don't realize how much energy the buildings waste. There's also the environmental teams who are fully literate in sustainability, but struggle to engage the wider colleagues without adding to their workload. And then ultimately, there are the sort of leaders who want to empower their teams to deliver the organization's strategic vision and statutory commitments. So our tool produces a variety of outputs from the half-hourly data. It has dynamic rankings, league tables, site alerts, deviation reports from the norm. It issues calls to action, and it lets you log interventions. It learns, so it looks at typical energy consumption, and when the energy consumption hits a certain threshold, it issues an alert. Again, we emphasize the fact that it learns, so it produces building-specific profiles, so each alert is specific to the building. So who gets what? Well, building users get an app that tells them how much their building is consuming, roughly, and whether it's consuming more or not, and if it's consuming more, it encourages them to have a look around and gives them have a look around. The electorate members, they get an app as well. Caretakers get more targeted emails or SMSs, and then the environmental teams get a web portal. And these guys, this is what the system does for them to bring them into the whole environmental action. So building users, they get an understanding for how their buildings are doing. They get the deviation alerts, and they can report what's happening if they want to. The caretakers, they get deviation alerts, and they have to report what they think is causing it. The environmental teams get a log of deviations and interventions, and they develop a bigger picture of opportunities to intervene. And the elected members, they see how the buildings are doing, and they can also report interventions. So what are the benefits of this? Well, we believe that it'll encourage a much larger number of no-cost energy reduction interventions, and we've gone for 10% of Glasgow's carbon emissions from lighting or powering buildings, so that's 6,000 tons. We're conservatively hope to capture 10% of electricity consumption, so 1.8 million pounds, and over 5 years, so 360,000 over that time period. And to deliver this, in the first year, it would be just over 62,000 pounds, and thereafter, just under 30,000 pounds to deliver 360,000 pound saving a year. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that it's quite a compelling story in that you've managed to show the information that's going to the specific people and the way that they can act upon that. And I think that's so far that's been quite, we haven't seen that so far, but you've shown just now that you have that ability to match the level of action, but also that gentle nudge. So I think that's a very, very strong presentation, so thank you.
Thank you.
In terms of your deviation alerts, have you given any more thought to what kind of deviations, what triggers might happen? So out of your data, over 400 are going to be schools, and deviations tend to be directly linked to weather.
We've given it a lot of thought. Deviations with weather tend to be more relevant to buildings that are heated. So this can incorporate that as well. We've used the electricity example. The profiles will look at deviations from the mean at a variety of levels, from daily mean by half-hourly segment, or lower if the data is available, daily mean for the month, for the kind of season, possibly compared to other buildings, and the level that the trigger is activated depends on the sensitivity. So Zolt did some analysis, and if it was, for example, 2 standard deviations from the mean, you'd get like 140 deviations in one of the examples we had, which was Drumchapel Bowling Green. So in a 1-year period, you'd get 150 alerts. But if you had say 3 deviations, then you'd get maybe like 50. So it's about managing that sensitivity so that you don't overwhelm the users with data, and eventually it's about reducing the variation in weekly consumption.
Can I ask you to say something about the sets that you used?
31.5 million data points from Glasgow's 3 years of half-hourly data sets. So that's basically 48 columns for each day of the week for each building going back 3 years.
Any more questions? Thank you. Mavericats.